I'm not going to sugarcoat it. No social proof, no business. Reviews, testimonials, and my personal favorite, video testimonials is critical for closing more business. Smart hospitality companies are doubling down on this. And I have Kassandra, McLaren, and James Allen from Monty Reviews to discuss why having rock solid social proof is so important and how to get more of it. So, welcome to the show, Kassandra and James.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Cory. Thank you for having us. What a fantastic introduction. Thank you.
Yeah, let's dive right in. What credibility mistake do vendors make and what's it costing them? Kassandra, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I think the biggest mistake they make is jumping right into a data dump about the features of their product without creating that social proof and really dialing into what their customer wants and their customers' challenges, their customers' pain points. And then, like you say, Cory, having those client testimonials, having those reviews, having champion clients that are referrals, all of that, not having the backup. So they go into a data dump and then they've just given a bunch of features. So we are dealing with this with Monty because we are bringing the success that Monty Reviews has had globally here to North America. And it's an entirely different product that our hotel clients have not experienced. So they'll hear reputation management and they think what they're already using, but this is totally different and flips it all around. So instead of going into a feature dump and telling our potential customers all of our features and what's great about it, we've got to take a step back and figure out what are their biggest challenges, not just with reviews, but with Google rankings, showing up in AI guest search, and then capturing the guest data so that they can upsell them while they're still at the property, and then also market to them for repeat bookings. So we've got to pull into those challenges and switch their mindset all with before we do a data dump.
Wonderful. How about you, James? Do you want to add a little bit to that?
Yes, so leading on the front foot, it's about giving, obviously, the venues the confidence of being proactive on site. So we are mainly proactive. And the issue right now is people having confidence. And how can they do that? How can they excel being proactive beyond the traditional review management platforms? Our whole journey right now between me and Kassandra is meeting and greeting as many people as possible. And like I say, before going into a data dump, speaking to these people and letting them know we're here to listen. And then we can explain where we actually come in from a point of view of helping. We think that's really key. We don't want to come in and consume people with, listen, guys, this is what we do. We serve this pain point and that pain point. I think putting up too many barriers to entry can obviously stop that relationship from being built from scratch. I don't think Kassandra could have answered that any better if she tried.
Beautiful. One of the biggest mistakes I see in this industry is an all outbound strategy. And I'm speaking to specifically to vendors. So trade shows, e-blast, a pure outbound strategy, not realizing that at some point before they sign up for any new technology, any new agreement, any new contract, they're going to go vet you online. Guess what? If you choose whatever LLM of choice, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and they go vet you, one of the top things that are going to come back in the response is reviews and testimonials. It is one of the biggest trust signals out there. So I see so many companies spending 6 figures, sometimes 7 figures on a robust sales staff, trade show exhibiting, and all the fees that go along with that to start these conversations. By the way, we're seeing that not as many business being even done at these shows because rightly they may meet a great company, product may sound great, conversation went well, buzz is high, everybody gets on the plane, they go back, they do their due diligence, and before they sign the agreement, they go, wow, maybe we should get these guys online, find out if they're really about. Guess what? Lo and behold, they're on in real life person experience does not line up with their online, trouble. So now you've wasted all that time, all that resources to get in front of your prospects, and they're not closing. So for crying out loud, mix things up. You need an outbound, but you also need an inbound strategy. And one of the most important part we start with our clients, got to double down with video testimonials and reviews. So thank you guys on that. So what does a strong social proof activity look like anyways? Why and how would hotels respond differently if they did have one? James, let's start with you.
So to answer that, Cory, what I'm finding myself doing lately is having to be a lot braver in regards to social presence. So us being Monty Reviews, we're always on the front foot of telling people we're going to help you in regards to being proactive. So your proactive reputation, what we want to do is aim it to go through the roof and keep you there at beyond the maintenance level. It becomes more of just that. It becomes in regards to what does social presence look like. Hence the reason, obviously, Kassandra is spearheading this for me right now. We need to be talking about ourselves, and everyone should be confident in regards to talking about their business, putting yourself out there via these means, social media means. Say, we can't just rely on events and demos and Calendly links. As we know, as soon as that call's over, what's the first thing people are going to do? They're going to do a little bit more digging on the company. They're going to pull that hood up. And if you're not being visible out there, they're going to want to know why. It's just taking that step to make sure that I'm leading from the front.
Kassandra, I'm sure you got something to say about this.
Yeah, I led sales and customer success teams for so many years. And it was so interesting when I switched over from sales to true customer success. And the CSMs were afraid to sell or to be a salesy or to be a salesperson. And I kept telling them and have heard it so many times since, and sometimes even have to remind myself. James says, being brave. If your product is really going to help someone or your service is really going to help them, it's actually being selfish not to tell them about it. And that's not just sales, that's helping someone. And so if you truly believe in what you're doing and that you're going to help them, then you owe it to them to let them know about it and to make sure that they know about it. And then as far as how to do that on via social proof, Cory, I think your example of video testimonials was perfect. It's a great idea because that's how we absorb information now. And especially being able to send a 10-second video of a champion client that you've had a lot of success with to a potential client, that's going to go a long way. And then what we're building now with all leading with outcomes with Monty Reviews. So we're showing the success that we've had globally with hotels going from 3.5 to 4.4 stars in less than 6 months. When somebody hears that, they want to know more and they want to know what they can do for their property and show them the outcome. And then, like you say, utilize those champion clients because that builds that trust. I was telling Cory, I was telling you earlier, I looked up reviews when I was buying my $4 box of pens, but I get reviews for everything now. And my brain and my mind goes to the negative review. I know sometimes I've heard the stat that one negative review is equal in weight to 10 positive reviews. So we've got to really look after that and get ahead of it. And if we can get ahead of it with a champion client testimonial, all the better. And then that's what we're doing at Monty too, is helping hotels get more reviews and then go up in the rankings so that when sales teams are looking to book, they are looking at those reviews and wanting to book.
I think something really interesting as well, Cory, that the big front runner on the most successful vendors this year, I read an interesting article in January, was going to be the vendors that can prove that they're building in public and lifting the hood up for everyone to see. Because it's not just that side of it, but people really like a story. People might buy into that story and they want to follow, obviously, where you were in January to where you're going to be in the summer to where you were at the end of the year. And not just that, like Kassandra said, if that can help other people to give them the confidence to say, what have we got to lose?
Wonderful. What's success for us is it's woven into the company culture. If they onboard a new client or customer, that is part of the onboarding process. In fact, when we onboard a client, we actually get a video, a barrier or bar set interview first. What's the outcome? What are they looking for of partnering with us? So really thinking that through from start all the way to finish, and then through execution process, you can tell if a company is set up and has a strong presence or have thought through the social aspect. They actually have a dedicated page on the website that's got streaming reviews, maybe a mixture of text and video that's on their website. It's also a channel on YouTube because YouTube is a huge player in agentic search, and having those video testimonials there is just absolutely skyrocketing some of those signals for you. And then most importantly is doing your own self audit. Also, run your own prompt on your own company. If it comes back and you can see that the testimonials, the social proof ranking, or it gives you advice on things to improve, that's another way, consistently doing that. But make sure when you do that, you got to clear the memory. Make sure that your prompt starts fresh, clean slate. So it's an unbiased assessment. Recap, if you set the stage by weaving that into the culture, make that a vital component of your online strategy, and then audit yourself consistently. Those three signals are really great as an indicator that companies are really taking this seriously. So, no reviews, patchy proof. What are 2 to 3 moves, fixes in 90 days that companies can take right now? Kassandra, let's start with you.
Yeah, to add to what you were saying, Cory, I think starting with the sales team and going into, if you have a customer success team or account management team, starting with a client that you know that you can build success with and documenting their goals in the CRM. My favorite place is to have it right at the top of the client landing page, and you cannot close that sale or mark it as closed one until you've documented their goals in a smart format. Then if you pass it on to another team, or if you're continuing that sales process, having a value statement, which is their emotional goal, and an impact message, which is a quantifiable one. So for Monty, we've got our client wanted to improve their star ranking, and they didn't want to feel like it was overwhelming to do. And then they wanted that outcome. So we showed one hotel client, they had 54 unhappy guests and 0 bad public reviews out of that. So they didn't feel overwhelmed by that. They felt excited. And so we've got our value statement and the emotional connection, and we've got our impact message that we can keep delivering to them. And we can take that champion client and then show the world what they're doing. And so the 3 things that I would do over the next, or 3 steps that I would take over the next 90 days is 1, build up that champion client with those goals, value statements, and impact messages, so that then I could use that as a client testimonial. I love, Cory, your idea of a video testimonial, and I would post that everywhere I could. And I would find different visuals, graphs, etc., for those case studies that will land differently with your champion client pain point. And then I would research potential customers and their challenges significantly and continue to draw that line from their pain point to my solution over and over again in LinkedIn posts. And we haven't hopped on YouTube enough yet, I don't think. So thank you for that advice, Cory. I think James and I will be dialing in on YouTube soon.
All right, James, you want to add a little bit of sauce to that?
Yeah, on the money there, Cory, in regards to what you're saying, video testimonials, it's actually something that we've had to adapt and build it ourselves. But it's been pointed out to me a few times that last year, Cory, I dropped the ball. And the reason for that, we actually had some really interesting stories, which I should have documented, just from obviously opening our office in Singapore, Bangkok, and then Cape Town to Ibiza. It's something that someone would have paid interest in. So it's really about devaluating your story, and where better to do that? YouTube. Say it's a case of, if you're not capitalizing on them little moments, and not just that, they're also markers for you to look back at yourself and compare, how you were operating. And if it can build that viewership and that trust, YouTube should be something we will be capitalizing on, that when we're explaining to people, this is where you can find us, there is a constant YouTube channel there, which someone within the company can keep updating our story. And say, having them key moments, which you can then chop them into shorts, that's real social proof as well. I'm glad you hit home on YouTube there, Cory. It's on the hit list, and left with a few regrets last year that I didn't actually have them type of moments documented. It's something that we will be putting into practice very soon.
All right. Hey, I'm glad that the YouTube drop. I think a lot of people are still sleeping on YouTube. So I watch it myself every day. I haven't even turned on the TV in years. Got my subscriber list set up. I learn about my cryptocurrency, a little bit about politics when I want to weigh in, but it's really optimized my viewing leisure time. So watch a little bit of marketing. It will. So yeah, YouTube for sure. My tip for companies that literally have nothing, maybe have some text reviews, I would suggest creating a video testimonial sizzle reel. And what I say by that is getting maybe your top 3 clients just to get on video and say exciting things about you, and not use necessarily a framework, which in our videos, we start with a hero's journey, what it was like before working with us, how it was working with us, and what was the outcome, that hero's journey. But we're suggesting as phase 2, what I suggest in 90 days is create that sizzle reel. Could be 2 minutes of they're the best ever, and put together almost like a Hollywood movie trailer where it's got words and it's got fast action and some audio and some music to go along with it to get the hype up, and use that as a key component on your website. It could be on maybe on the homepage. We've got ours positioned on that second part of our website. It's fast actions, energy. And so just to create some buzz and get some momentum going on how to begin to get comfortable in capturing those, because it's not always easy. You're learning from experience, and reach out to clients and say, look, I'd love to have you do a video testimonial, but making it easy on them as possible. Once you get through that sizzle reel, is that learn how to create, and timing's everything, right? If you can tell the client's happy and they're excited, and naturally that's the time. It's not when things may have gone sideways. So timing, making it easy. We've actually created a self-serve video portal that we use, and it's got the script basically in it for them, and they could do it in 2 minutes. It makes it super painless for them. And that way we continue to curate those videos, and then we would edit on the back end. But making it painless as possible, I'm assuming that's a little bit about what Monty offers. In fact, that's just a fantastic segue. Maybe you can share a little bit about that. And then where can people find you? Kassandra, we'll end with you as well on that.
No, it really leads into what you've just said there, Cory, is making sure that you can capitalize at the highest point of satisfaction. So when the client is at its highest point of satisfaction, we all know there's a big tradition out there of people being happy to leave negative feedback, but not enough people will leave that comment that they should leave at the highest point of satisfaction. We put the power on being able to capitalize on their moments into the venue's hands via many, many different ways. We like to make sure we limit the barrier to entry, so we can give our solution to a venue where we can go and onboard a 600-room hotel, as an example. Check us out. Come and see what we're all about. But like we say, we're not here to pitch. We're here to meet people. Let's get an understanding of where they actually sit within hospitality.
How about you, Kassandra? You want to wrap this up?
Yes. Thanks, Cory. Thank you so much for having us. And this has been such a fun conversation to have. I think James and I are going to walk away with a lot of golden nuggets from you, and can't wait to hear other suggestions, comments and things. One of being which I think we'll get our YouTube up and running real quick and get that sizzle reel. I already know the clients that we can reach out to put them on there. And I think that's great advice. That's something that for all champion clients, if you can write it for them, whether you're asking for a referral, a review, or that sizzle reel, if you can write it for them and then let them put it in their own language, you're already that far ahead with them and make it easy. And that's a piece of what we do with Monty Reviews, where we capture the guest in the moment while they're still at the property or dining at the restaurant or at the pool at the hotel. And then we ask them for a specific prompt of, can you leave us a review about how you're enjoying your drink at the pool and the view you like? So driving revenue through creative ways that those upsells would not be happening otherwise. And James says, capturing them in the moment. And as far as where you can find us, yes, MontyReviews.com and LinkedIn. We're trying to build up that social proof to show everyone all the success that we've had globally and in the process of building that in North America.
Wonderful. Hey guys, it's been an awesome conversation. I knew it would be. Appreciate you bringing a lot of your knowledge to this incredibly important topic. Thanks again. And hopefully you guys will join me again soon on InSync.
Yeah, we'd love to. Thank you, Cory.
Thanks, guys.
Sure. Yep. Thank you, Cory.